So here I am going to be using a little bit of Spritz to spray on her roots, and I comb it out a little bit throughout her hair, and then I'm going to use a gel to lay down. The gel that I particularly use is the Edgewax. That's my favorite gel. And as you can see, I'm applying that on the root, not on the scalp, on the roots of the hair. Okay, we do not apply gel on the scalp. Okay, applying hair gel on the scalp can cause irritation, dryness, actually make you more itchy sooner than later when wearing a protective style. There's no need to be putting gel directly on the scalp. As you can see, I'm putting it on the root of the hair, not on the scalp. And it's okay if it takes about on her scalp, none on her scalp, just on the hair, okay? Yeah, I had to point that out real quick because a lot of people fail to realize that you don't need gel in order for you to part. And yes, you know, you probably won't get a straight line on the first parting, but that's okay. I've been doing hair since I came out my mother's womb, and honey, I have to repart over and over and over again until my line is clean. So you don't need the gel. Yeah, so I just said I'm going to be putting gel, I'm going to be doing the same thing on the other side. So applying the gel on the hair, not on the scalp, and being patient with myself, you know, when I do make those partings and create those sections with my comb. And it does help to get a parting comb, a comb like a rat tail comb that has a defined beginning point, so that way it's much more easier to create the lines. Now you want to be careful when you are laying this gel down, because as you can see, the hair moves, and whatever direction you apply the gel, that's the direction the hair will be styled in. So you have to be very intentional when you're molding that, which is why I made sure that each side was laid out straight versus one side being leaned over more on one side. So I'm going to try to bring this much closer for you guys. I created a line like a parting. I created a sectioning, a small sectioning in the front, and I'm going to show you how I use gel to start off my braid. I don't know why I call it a slit, but y'all know what I mean. So that slit or line or section, that first line I create is going to be small, and I'm going to actually make sure my hands are filled, not hands, but my fingers, the 3 main fingers that I'm using to braid. I'm going to make sure they have a substantial amount of gel on it, because I notice when it comes to braiding cornrows, especially stitch braids, which I'm not doing today, but if I were to be doing stitch braids, I would need much more hair gel on my fingers to make sure it looks nice and clean and laid. But with this, I can use just a decent amount, not so much, and just continue braiding, going backwards, and to grab hair on each side as I braid, as you can see. Also, another thing that helps me with braiding, especially when it comes to very thick hair, I notice when I do not use my nails to grip, but instead using my forefingers or like my palms, it actually helps detangle the hair, and it smooths the hair down, it smooths the frizz down, and makes it much easier for me to continue to braid. So you can see here how I'm braiding pretty fast, and I don't even have a sped up video. I'm taking my time, like I'm really taking my time in this. So as I'm watching this, I'm actually surprised at how fast I'm actually moving. She does have a lot of hair, and her hair was very thick. But using gel, like I said, a substantial amount, not too much. You probably want to use a lot more gel if you were doing stitch braids. But since these are just regular cornrows, a substantial amount of gel on my fingers from time to time. Also, there's already gel on her hair, so that helps with the grip and with the clean foundation of the braid. This was originally scheduled for a braid down, but turns out she wanted a cornrow set that was wearable, where I didn't have to sew it up and down for a wig. So this is why we're just gonna give her a basic a basic braid down. A basic cornrow service, and just have her hair braided all the way down. And her hair is pretty long, so she can do whatever she pleases with it. She's a very low maintenance, productive girl, so she's not the outside type of girl. She's not into all that crazy dating and trying to do crazy stuff to her hair. She's very simple. She's really cool. So I love that about her, because that also plays a role in her habits and how she takes care of her hair, because now that she's not always outside or chasing, FOMO outside, she's in the house, she's at work, she's keeping herself as organized as possible, going to school, and she's making time to take care of her hair as well, and to learn about how to take care of her hair. So you realize how people's lifestyles and their habits do play a role in how their hair health is, and how their hair retains length and all that good stuff. So let me let you guys get back to the video. The comb I'm using is actually the Ordinary Her parting comb. It's a pretty dope comb. Worth every dollar. I bought this maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and when I tell you, this thing is durable, it is heat resistant, it is very adorable as far as like sitting in barbicide for way too long, and it does not melt or does not disintegrate or anything like that. It's been with me for a long time, and I use it on almost everyone for everything. And as you can see, it makes my parting so freaking clean. So I'll do my best to try to have a link below for that somewhere. Hopefully she's still selling it. Her name is Ordinary Her on Instagram. She's another dope braider as well. And yeah, I'm telling you, this freaking comb is life. She did her thing with that one. So let me let you go back to the video. A good blowout in the beginning always sets a foundation for a clean braid down. When I tell you, I barely did too much. When it comes to that IC spray, I'll have that in the link as well. It's one of my favorites. I like it because I don't need to use something more harsh like Got To Be, and it still gives me a hold like Got To Be does. Got To Be is way more unhealthy, I guess is the word, for using the Got To Be sprays and glues and things. They're more of the harsh alcohols, formaldehydes, adhesive side, and I try my best to have my clients stay away from those type of things, hence why I use Marae's Edgewax. As you can see, I'm using that gel, and I'm using that because it's beeswax based, and beeswax based means that as it continues to get old, it will turn into grease and soften, unlike Shine and Jam and all those other brands that are alcohol based or clear based. So yeah, that's why I use that, and it also helps with having clients who have scalp conditions. It's more sensitive for them than using alcohol based gels. Now, I'm not excluding any other gels out there, but I am saying that my beeswax gel is the one that's my go-to for everyone, and the dry ones I use for other things that doesn't pertain to having to be used closely on the scalp, or if it's for like a quick style or a style that my client doesn't do all the time, so they can afford to have gel all over their roots, their scalp and hair. That's alcohol based. Now Now, there is absolutely no need to braid tight when you know how to grip, when you know how to smooth the hair down with your fingers the proper way, when you know how to feed in the hair, which is just a fancy way of saying grabbing hair strands evenly from side to side when doing a cornrow. I do my best to be very gentle around the hairline. So that means, you know, not only in the front, but also the sides of the head and also especially the back of the head. So I never want to braid down all the way down to the back to the very end, because the very back of the head tends to have like the more sensitive hairs, the more softer hairs, the more peach fuzz looking type of hairs, and those are called vellus hairs. And vellus hairs cannot handle the same tension that terminal hairs can, which is just another fancy word of saying the thick hairs that are predominant in the middle of our head. So yes, as you can see, I don't braid it all the way down, and I leave some room for hair to breathe, not in a way to where it's, you know, very apparent, you know, but it looks clean. And, you know, it won't cause her any tension, especially when she's sleeping or when she's bending her head down, so she won't feel that pull of those little small tiny hairs getting caught in the braid. So this is where I'm going to be a little bit more gentle. I spray. Now when I spray that thing, I do not spray on the roots, only on the hair. Same thing for the gel. We do not want to put anything on those, we do not want to put anything on the scalp. I mean, it's okay to put it on the roots, to lay down the roots, but when you're putting it on the scalp, especially too often or all the time, that's where the issues happen. That's where the buildup happens. That's where the dryness occurs. That's where the irritation can go down. That's where the worsening of a previous scalp condition can actually happen too. Like, let's say if you have dandruff or dry scalp. So spraying Spritz, a drying product, or adding gel, a drying type of gel directly on the scalp does more harm than good. And my clients are very consistent, so I do my best not to start habits on them that could cause them more harm than good. And they already be doing mess at home, so I gotta make sure I'm doing my best to keep that scalp clean and healthy as much as possible. I like to tell my students and my clients that a growing scalp is a healthy scalp, and a healthy scalp is a clean scalp, okay? So once you get that wrapped, around your head, then you're able to understand, why we use certain products in the steps the way and in the steps that we do. So as you can see here, when it comes to the hairline area on the last braid on the side, I'm using my edge brush to smooth down the hair before I start braiding. I'm not doing any stitch braids. Once again, these are just basic cornrows, so I just need them to be laid out smooth. I don't have to worry about creating any stitch patterns, which honestly to me makes this process much faster, thank God. Because Lord knows stitch braiding takes so much more precision, and because I don't do that style, I do that style, I just don't do it as often as all my other styles. So because of that, I just can't seem to get it sped up. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I can never seem to be done with like 6 stitch cornrows in under an hour and a half, and that's not including the shampoo and blowout. So hopefully I'm not alone, but if it is just me, oh well, it's not my thing, I guess. But yeah, as you can see, I created that first line in the front. Before I start braiding, that first line in the front is going to be used as my 3 foundational legs to start my cornrow off, and then I'll continue braiding going backwards to follow the cornrow pattern. And as I do that, I'll just be feeding in hair from each side at a time in an even way, okay? You don't want to just keep adding hair from one side and then keep going down and then add hair from the other side. No, if you grab hair from one side and you braid, you do the same on the opposite side, okay? That's what keeps an even foundation for the braid, so you won't really see any lumps and unevenness too. So as you can see, I'm smoothing out the hair with my forefingers, not using my nails. Also another reason why I stopped getting my nails done, because I love doing hair much more, and hair gets snagged in my nails all the time, and baby, I can't seem to ever be on time for my goddamn nail appointments. So that's God just telling me that's an expense that I don't need at the moment. I probably will, spend more time on getting my nails done when I remove myself from behind a chair much more. But honestly, at the rate that DJ Styles is going right now, God is telling me, this business gonna need me more than ever. So these nails just gonna have to wait, and I am okay with that. Now, like I said, I braid all the way down, and I make sure I do not grab those little BDB hairs, those little vellus hairs, those little peach fuzz hairs on the neck, of the back of the neck. You do not want to grab those. You want to make sure those are left alone, so that way when she moves her head around, she's not in pain. She's able to move it around. Hair is not popped off because it's stuck to the braid. And also one main reason why I make sure that I'm aware of those small little hairs is that if it does get caught up in these big braids, and especially if you're a tight braider too, when the client moves their head around, it will cause tugging on those small hairs, which will cause stress on the follicle, which can then lead to irritation, and also irritation can lead to folliculitis. So if you don't know what folliculitis is, baby, I'm pretty sure you've had it before and thought it was normal, and it's not. You should look it up. folliculitis. Folliculitis. I think I said it right. Pray for me. Now, as you can see, I use that little rat tail comb to try to make sure it's as clean as possible. But that's basically it. That's the whole style. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Finish, my dear. Thank you. You're welcome.